were at BBC Women's Hour. Now, in the first ever World Female Ranger Day, which is happening tomorrow, celebrating the work of female rangers around the world who do an important but ultimately dangerous job protecting wildlife from poachers. That's what's happening tomorrow to market. The emphasis this year is on the work of female rangers in Africa, where there are approximately 3,500 female rangers in teams in 18 countries all over the continent working to protect endangered wildlife. One of those women joins us now, I'm very happy to say, Collette Introduction, who is part of the all-female team, the Black Mambas in South Africa. And we're also joined by Budge, who's the founder of the charity How Many Elephants and of World Ranger Day. Collette, welcome to Women's Hour. Could you tell me, first of all, about the work that you do with the Black Mambas?
I'm a supervisor and administrator of Black Mamba's anti-poaching unit, which was started in 2013. In 2013, I was just an ordinary Mamba. So we are in Greater Kruger National Park, where we stay at Balule Oliphant West, and then we patrol 9,000 hectares at Balule, and we even have the center again, which is called Griki, where they patrol 3,000 hectares. And in our place where we patrol, it's a home of big five, example like elephants and rhinos, which we protect.
And how do you protect them, you and your fellow female rangers? What do you have on you, and how do you make sure that what you're trying to protect stays safe?
We are the eyes and the ears of the reserve because we are unarmed. So we are there to protect those animals. So we are always visible in the fence where we patrol. So then people, when they drive around, they will see us that we are there. So we are always visible inside the reserve.
And you're not armed, did you say?
We are unarmed.
Right. So how do you actually do that? How do you stop animals from getting killed?
We have our smartphone, which we have app inside it. And then we go out with our handcuffs and pepper spray. So it's just sending the message out there to the people that you are not allowed to come near our reserve because we are there. And then another thing, the poachers, they don't want to be seen, because they're there to do the quick jobs and then they can go out. So when they see us, they won't come inside the reserve because they already seen us inside the reserve.
So handcuffs and a pepper spray and your smartphone.
Yes.
This is what stands between you and a potential poacher and an elephant's life, for instance.
Yes, and we even have our armed guard response. If something happened, then we manage to call the armed guard response to come and help us.
Okay. And why is it an all-female team, the Black Mambas? Why is it all the women together?
I will say because of love and natural love that we have inside our hearts. And then again, we are mothers. So we are too much secretive than men, because a lot of reserves, the people who give information to the poachers is the people who are working inside the reserves, and that is men. So as women, we don't have that mind of giving out the information to the poachers. We always want to keep the information outside us, and then what we do is to educate other people of conservation, because a lot of people, they don't understand anything about conservation.
So, I mean, what you're starting to talk about there, is, as opposed to just the patrolling side of your job, is actually having really difficult conversations with people about and educating people about why what you're doing is important. That's part of this job, and education is very important, I imagine.
That's true.
And those conversations. Let's bring in Holly at this point. Holly, it's fascinating to get this insight from Collette. And is that part of the motivation to actually recognise the work of female rangers?
Absolutely, Emma. So, I mean, I was so inspired when I first heard about the work of the Black Mambas in 2014, when I was studying for a master's in sustainable design. And I was also so horrified by the poaching statistics for the African elephants, that of 96 elephants being poached a day, 35,000 a year, that I decided to use my background in design to come up with a fresh awareness-raising campaign to really raise awareness of the sheer scale of the African elephant crisis, but also to highlight the work of female rangers. And that's been the inspiration very much behind World Female Ranger Day.
Because it is that range of skills, and I'll go back to Collette shortly, but the education side of it, but also the patrolling.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, there's lots of different models of female ranger teams out there. You've got the Akashinga Rangers in Zimbabwe who are fully armed with AK-47s. They come face to face with the poachers. As Colette's mentioned, these guys have pepper spray and handcuffs, and they're more like the eyes and ears on the ground. The idea is that they don't come face to face with the poachers. An armed response team will come in, if needed. So both, making tremendous impact, but consciously very, very different models there.
There'll be some people listening to this thinking, why have you got to mark the work of women? Why have you got to specifically mark out what female rangers are doing as opposed to what all rangers are doing, which is ultimately an important and dangerous role?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And we have absolutely nothing against men or male rangers. We think they're doing a fantastic work out there. But I think it's really important for us, it's really important in my charity, How Many Elephants, to be specific. We have an expression, specific is terrific. And we feel that if we really hone in and really pinpoint our focus, we can have really measurable impact and make change. So absolutely nothing against men, but we're just very focused on African elephants in How Many Elephants and female rangers in World Female Ranger Day. And we're a short team, so a small team, so we can't spread ourselves too thin. So we just really hone in on something specific.
What are you hoping, though, with this first day, this first Female Ranger Day, to achieve?
Yeah, so this is all about raising awareness. It's the first time that female rangers around the world have been brought together on a platform to share their stories and best practice. It's also about raising vital funds for these women. So they've set up their own pages on our worldfemalerangerday.org, and the money raised on each of their pages will go directly to that female ranger team. But, with the pandemic especially and the current restrictions on travel worldwide, it's having a devastating knock-on effect to conservation organisations and communities. So we're really trying to do our bit to highlight the work they're doing and get much needed funds to them.
Collette, to come back to you.
On the road.
Oh, sorry, forgive me. And of course, people wanting to travel to these places and make sure that they are conserved and stay the way that they are. Collette, did you always want to be a ranger? Was that something you wanted to do from being a little girl, Collette?
The love for nature and wildlife in general, that motivated me to be one of the rangers.
That's what got you going. And what about the women around you? Is there a good sense of kind of sisterhood in your group and closeness?
Yes, that's positive. We are more supportive to each other in everything.
Yeah, I know it sounds an incredible role. And the pandemic, I mean, how has the last 15 months been in terms of your work and your community?
Our work in general, it was too much difficult, because in the reserve, some of the workers were suspended because of this pandemic, and we didn't have game drives inside the reserve. So we were more out to the reserve, like we needed more eyes to patrol inside the reserve, because the pandemic affected us a lot, because we didn't have people coming outside from the country to come here.
Yes. So
that was very bad.
Well, thank you for talking to us today. What are you off to do now? I mean, I'm sitting here in a studio in the BBC. Where are you going next?
We are going to patrol, but our next patrol will start at 6 o'clock at night for night patrol, because we have morning patrol, we have afternoon patrol, and then we have night patrol.
So you're off onto that one and trying to protect. What sort of animals will you be trying to protect this evening? Paint us a picture.
Okay, I will say all the animals, but because poachers, they're more focused on rhinos and elephants. So that's what we are doing. We protect the whole animals, but more specific, rhinos and elephants.
Yeah, slightly puts my sort of line of work into perspective, that I'm sat here in a studio and you're off to protect rhinos and elephants. So I'm not going to stand in your way any longer. Thank you very much for talking to us there, Collette, who's part